Good evening and a very warm welcome to your English news package with radio and television Tonga for the hour. Making headlines: Tonga's appeal court gets more judges. 2 men arrested for making and using counterfeit money, and unvaccinated passengers reduce 5 days of quarantine to only 3 days. We'll have these and more stories later on in the bulletin, including the latest sports news to wrap up by your latest update from the weather. Now for the stories in detail. In July and August 2022, upon the advice of the Judicial Appointments and Discipline Panel, His Majesty in Council appointed the following QCs as judges of the Court of Appeal. First is the former Chief Justice and Governor of Queensland, the Honourable Paul Chercy. Second is Justice Stephen Ascourt of the Tasmanian Supreme Court. Justice Paul Heath and Justice Rhys Harrison are former judges of the New Zealand High Court and Court of Appeal, and also Justice Philip Morrison and Justice Sean Talton of the Queensland Court of Appeal. The increase in the number of judges serving on the court will aid in ensuring availability so that the court may be duly constituted by the number of judges for each session of the court each year and any special sessions that may be required. Police have arrested 2 male suspects and seized counterfeit Tongan currency, free photocopy machines used to produce counterfeit currency, and illicit drugs from a residence at Papua earlier yesterday. Police identified one of the suspects who used a fake 50 pa'anga bill at a petrol station at Lapaha and intercepted his car on Taufa'aha Road at Vaini on Monday afternoon. The second suspect was arrested earlier yesterday following the execution of a search warrant at his residence at Papua. Both male suspects have been arrested on counterfeit currency and illicit drugs charges. Tonga Police advises the public to contact them if they have any information that may help police investigation or if you know of any fake currency that may be in circulation. Health Director Dr. Siale Akauola has confirmed that unvaccinated passengers reduce 5 days quarantine to only 3 days. This follows the National Emergency Management Committee and EMC approval. Mark Ake has more on that story.
Dr. Akauola says the borders have been opened and allow Tongan citizens to travel without immunization, but foreign travelers must get vaccinated twice before traveling to Tonga. Tongan citizens who are made available for travel without vaccination are only 12 years old or below. Since the first day of August, when the border opened, there have been only 7 unvaccinated passengers recorded in the Ministry of Health who have traveled to Tonga without being vaccinated. Akauola added that these non-immunizations must pay 750 pa'anga. This policy will be reviewed by the end of this month.
The Honourable Prime Minister Huakavami Liku will depart the country this week for overseas meetings, which will include the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York and the Pacific Leaders meeting with the US President Joe Biden in Washington. The Honourable Prime Minister confirmed this during a press conference yesterday. Mark Ake again with the detail.
The Prime Minister, Honourable Huakavami Liku, will leave today for Honolulu, Hawaii, to attend the Pacific Islands Conference of Leaders at the East-West Center from September 12th to the 14th, before traveling on to New York for the United Nations General Assembly from September 16th to the 26th. On September 26th to the 30th, the Honourable Prime Minister will fly to Manila, Philippines, to attend the Asian Development Bank Annual General Meeting. That will be followed by the Pacific Leaders meeting with the President Joe Biden at the White House on September 28th to the 29th. He will also meet with investors and funders of the dialysis center planned for Viola Hospital. That meeting will be held in Salt Lake City, Utah. Huakavami Liku also plans to meet with Tongan community members in San Francisco before attending the World Bank annual meeting from October 3rd to the 16th. He is scheduled to return home to lead the South Pacific Defense Ministers meeting on October 18th, 2022, which Tonga will host here in Nuku'alofa in his capacity as Minister for His Majesty's Armed Forces.
After requests from foreign communities with visa issues in Tonga, Cabinet approved the waiver of overstay fees today. Mark Ake takes up that story.
The waiver begins on September 12th and will be effective until December the 12th. The waiver was proposed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and covers all overseas citizens who have been overstaying in Tonga before the COVID-19 lockdown and during the lockdown. All those applying for the waiver have to register with the Tonga Immigration Department. The Prime Minister says that they are urging all communities who have visa issues to take full use of this opportunity. Members of the Fijian community are also urged to use this waiver while the government reciprocates what the Fijian government is doing with Tongans in Fiji.
And the Prime Minister confirmed in a recent press conference that 70% of the construction of houses for communities affected by the Tonga Ha'apai eruption and tsunami have been procured. These include communities who were displaced from the villages and islands. Mark Ake again tells you more.
The Honorable Prime Minister stated yesterday during a press conference that 70% of houses that need to be built for victims of the January 15th volcano and tsunami events have been procured, with construction already underway. This includes construction work being done around Popua, Sopu, Masilamea, Matatoa in Tongatapu, and Ta'anga in Eua. The Prime Minister, Honorable Huakavameliku, says that the construction of 24 houses in Masilamea for the people of Atata is well underway, and they hope to complete those houses by the end of this month. Ha'apai construction work is also set to start soon, with a plan to complete the houses before Christmas. The Honorable Huakavameliku thanked all partners who had come together to ensure that there is a prompt response to the reconstruction project.
Sport is up next with Mark Ake, proudly sponsored by Pacific Timber and Hardware.
Tonga handball revival efforts are running smoothly, with Tonga expected to compete in 2 upcoming regional competitions for the first time ever. Handball may sound unfamiliar for many in Tonga, a country where rugby union and league, as well as netball, are popular. However, handball isn't particularly a new sport to the kingdom. Tonga handball president, who was also the Tasanak Secretary General, Takitoa Taumapeau, says that the sport was actually introduced to the kingdom in the late 70s to early 80s by His late Majesty King Taufa'ahau Tupou IV. However, it was only introduced to youth groups and primary schools, and there was no governing body. However, in 2015, the International Handball Federation, or IHF, invited Oceania member countries to revive the sport, and since then, Tonga has been a full member of the IHF.
But just for our non-Tongan speakers, handball is not new to Tonga. It was introduced to the kingdom by the late His Majesty King Taufa'ahau Tupou IV back in the late 70s or early 80s. But unfortunately, it was only introduced to youth groups and primary school. But I guess that because there was no national body or a committee to continue and run the show or continue the program and activities, it was started to fade away until in the early 2015 or 2015, there was an invitation from the International Handball Federation for Oceania Pacific Island member countries to revive, and they knew that handball was already here, but it wasn't really practiced. So I was joined and formed a committee, and we managed to approach IHF, and they invited us for their General Assembly in 2015, and Tonga has now been inducted or joined as a full member of IHF.
To escalate the revival efforts, a handball coach and former professional player, Sawa Moharam, is running training in the country. Moharam began playing handball at 9 years old and played in England, where he coached Leeds University before he met his Australian wife and moved with her to Australia. Moharam coached in the land down under as well and found his way to Tonga through his wife, who works at the Australian High Commission.
I found out coming to Tonga because of my wife's job, and I was talking to my good friend. He's actually the head coach for the Australian national team. He's been with them in the Olympics, he's been to the World Cup. It's like, it's big. And I was saying to him, like, I'm going to Tonga, for 3 years. And he says, hang on, Tonga, actually, they haven't started it yet, but I think they would be good. So why didn't you start it there? And I said, yeah, okay. So I came over here and I start, finding out who's in charge here, and I found Mr. Takitoa. And I think he was right, actually. I just started this a small group of boys and girls, to see what they're like. And boy, you've got it. You've got the strength, you've got the athletes, you've got it. So we start training, and we have a page, a Tonga Handball Facebook page. And to be honest, people in Australia, in Cook Island, they start talking about Tonga. We only started like just in mid-July. We started just a couple of months, but myself, I'm getting messages from Australia. My friend, the head coach, is saying like, "Wow, the Tongan, they look good. Look, I think we're gonna have to watch out." You know, we've got from the people in Cook Islands as well. Like, wow. So the competition, first competition we go into is in December, and it's 10 countries: Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, American Samoa, and it's first time ever Tonga on the list. That, for me, even just talking about it, I'm feeling like goosebumps, like, really excited, really good.
Muharram also explained that Tonga will compete at a competition in December for the first time ever alongside New Zealand, Fiji, and American Samoa. He also says that he sees potential in Tongan players, but their focus is mainly on rugby and netball. However, handball offers a better chance for local players to represent their country.
As well, I've been looking at it, is like, what a chance do you, boys and girls, local, just live here, just normal school, living here, what chance do you have to play for Tonga in rugby? You see, on netball. I've been doing my research and stuff. The main team, all the team play for Tonga in rugby or netball or whatever. They all live outside in New Zealand, in Australia. And if you're really good here, they have to take you out there in like swimming. They have to take you to practice somewhere else. You see, so now you have a new sport, handball. Can actually all the local people, boys, girls, men, women, just live here normally, go to school, go to work, practice here, and actually one day they can put that Tonga national shirt on and go out there and play against Australia, New Zealand, France, England. So it's big. So what we're trying to do here, by your help, and get the people think about, just look at it, just try. It's not just rugby, you see, and this is a bigger chance for you guys just living here on the island. You actually play for Tonga.
Muharram says it wasn't difficult to get athletes to transition or learn handball, and one player has made quite an impression.
To be honest, it wasn't hard at all. It's because, again, going back to it, handball, how handball created is they looked at rugby, soccer, water polo, basketball, volleyball, and they took a bit of all these sports and they created handball. So water polo, the way, water in the pool, the way they hit the ball and score, it's the same as handball, right? Rugby, like I was saying earlier, the way you go out, if someone coming in to score, you go out, you grab, you hold them, you pin them down on the floor. You've got that contact. Basketball, because you jump up in the air, and instead of hitting it that way, you jump up in the air and you're hitting it that way. Volleyball, exactly the same, that jump it. So I did find it easy, to be honest. I've got some boys, one of them actually play volleyball here, and he straight away picked it up. The way he jumped. Actually, going back to that, I bought that boy, actually, the way he jumped and throw the ball on our Tonga handball page. And a couple of days after, I got a message from the head coach of Australia saying to me, "Wow, that jump looks like a pro."
Muharram says the sport needs backing and support for it to continue to grow and develop, including sporting equipment, training locations, and public support. Tonga will field under 18 and under 21 teams, as well as a senior team in upcoming events for both boys and girls. Both Taumapeau and Muharram are urging people to join and give handball a try. Handball training sessions are held at the Church of Latter-day Saints Hall in Havelu every Tuesday and Saturday, and schedules can be found on the Tonga Handball Facebook page. Moving on, local table tennis players attended a training camp in Melbourne, Australia last weekend as part of their preparations for the Oceania Championships. The training ran from Friday to Saturday last week. In a report from the team's manager, Joe Fifita, the young players are in good health and condition, as well as their trainer, Eseta V, who also plays in their senior division. The players participated in the team events from Monday to Wednesday this week, and they will continue to the individual or singles events. In a statement from the Tonga Table Tennis Federation, this is a really important opportunity for the young athletes as they get to play with great table tennis teams such as Australia and New Zealand, who competed at the recent Commonwealth Games. There are 4 under-19 athletes at the training, which include Melekaufusi Fungavai, Tupo Fifita in the girls division, and Salosi Cocker and Inoke Pepa in the boys division. Tonga is the 6th country to join the events in Melbourne, Australia. And the Tonga Under-19 men's national team will open their campaign in the OFC Under-19 Championship tomorrow night against the host country Tahiti, and head coach Timote Polovili is confident that the team is ready to go into the field. In a statement, Polovili said that the team is in good condition since no one is sick or unable to play, and they put a lot of effort into the preparation, so he trusts that the boys have enough confidence to face any team in the competition. He added that even though the team is still facing a typical problem in the technical area, such as passing and ball control, a strong mindset and willingness is encouraged, so they could overcome these problems on the field tomorrow night. Polovili said that Tahiti has an advantage over the team in the technical area, but he believes Tonga's fitness will be their advantage tomorrow. The Tonga Under-19 men's national team landed in Tahiti on the 2nd of this month after a friendly game with the New Zealand Under-19 men's team, which New Zealand won 9-0. Also joining the team last Saturday is the team's trainer, Alipate Fidimoyaka. However, here is the Under-19 men's team that will face Tahiti. Goalkeeper, Nimilote Moala. Defender, Motu Pascala. Defenders, Ulukaulupe Akolo, Tomasi Mailangi, and Bensimani Latu. Center midfield, Sione Viamatahau, Kulisi Kite, Captain Christopher Kefu, and Herrick Funaki. The 2 strikers are Amoni Fifita and Tomasi Teo.
Now the latest with a bulletin issued from one of the staff of Tonga Meteorological Services from Whaamotu.
For the current weather situation, a trough lies to the southwest of Tongatapu and Ewa, and it is expected to move further away from the group by this evening. Meanwhile, a ridge of high pressure extends onto the group from the southeast, which circulates an east to northeasterly wind flow over Tonga. Forecast to midnight tomorrow for the NIWAS, light to moderate easterly winds, fresh at times, mainly fine apart from cloudy periods with possible scattered showers. For Vava'u, Ha'apai, Tongatapu and Ewa, light to moderate east to northeasterly winds, variable at times, becoming east to southeasterly winds by tomorrow, mainly fine apart from cloudy periods with isolated showers and possible fog develop later tonight, especially over Tongatapu and Ewa. For the temperature forecast, maximum of around 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. Minimum will be 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. Looking at the marine weather bulletin, warning for coastal waters. A small craft advisory remains in force for Tongatapu, Ewa, Teleki Tonga and Teleki Tokelau coastal waters. For Tongatapu, Ewa, Teleki Tonga and Teleki Tokelau coastal waters, east to northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, moderate seas of up to 2.5 meters, a moderate southwesterly swell of up to 2 to 3 meters. For Vava'u and Ha'apai coastal waters, east to northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, rising up to 20 knots at times, moderate seas of up to 2 meters, a moderate southwesterly swell of up to 2.5 meters. For the NIWAS coastal waters, easterly wind 15 to 20 knots, moderate seas of up to 2 meters, a moderate southwesterly swell of up to 2.5 meters. For the tide prediction for Nuku'alofa, low tide will be at 15 minutes to 12 by midnight tonight. High tide will be at 5 minutes to 6 tomorrow morning. Sun and moon, sun will rise at 16 minutes to 7 by tomorrow morning. Moonset will be at 14 minutes to 6 by tomorrow morning. Now finally looking for the 6 days forecast for Nuku'alofa, starting this Saturday until Thursday next week. Light to moderate east to southeasterly winds, mainly fine apart from cloudy periods with isolated showers. For the temperature forecast, maximum of around 27 to 29 degrees Celsius, minimum will be 19 to 22 degrees Celsius. For the relative humidity are estimated to be 75 to 95%.
That wraps up this evening's news package, but before we part, here's one final look at today's top stories. Tonga's Court of Appeal gets more judges. 2 men arrested for making and using counterfeit money, and unvaccinated passengers reduced 5 days of quarantine to only 3 days. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your company. I'm Wafanonto Bola. Good evening.